Okay. Now, let's. If only this was a joke. Our new compatriot, the glorious sounding. Where's his name now? Here
Ala
we.
Abdel Fattah. I don't think he's from the Gloucestershire Al Fattahs.
No, I don't think he's from the Gloucestershire Alfatters either. But although there will be some of those in the Barton area for sure. But I love the fact you've memorised his name. Now he's, received the hero's welcome. I mean, it's astonishing, isn't it? That even just 3 days before, can you imagine? Right. Can you imagine? I've done something bogey and probably, I don't know, called Keir Starmer beep. And so the fuzz come, feel up my collar, sling me in prison. I mean, let's be fair, could well happen. And could you imagine my mum phoning up going, yes, I'm from the great lineage of the Parks of King Stanley, but, somewhere down the line there was such and such, and, Alex has been put in clink by that Starmer man. Can she become a citizen of your country, yeah? And they're like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm coming out of prison, the Prime Minister's saying welcome, the Home Secretary saying welcome, all the celebrities have made this montage video, basically crying as they earnestly repeat the shoddy little so-called poems that I wrote in Clink. I mean, what went on there? 3 days before he comes back, he's there retweeting all this nonsense on social media about Zionists are out to get me. Dude.
Good day to you all and welcome back to the British Report. If you thought the only thing leaking in Westminster was the roof of the House of Commons, think again. We have just witnessed a political demolition job so surgical, so precise and so utterly public that it has left number 10 looking less like the seat of power and more like a crime scene. Sir Keir Starmer, a man who prides himself on being the adult in the room, has just been served a very public eviction notice from his own credibility by none other than his former Director of Strategy, Paul Ovenden. This isn't just a disgruntled ex-employee venting on LinkedIn. This is a full-scale tactical strike on the Prime Minister's judgment, revealing a government that is apparently more concerned with fringe issues and celebrity letter-writing campaigns than, actually running the country. The adult has been found playing with blocks while the house is on fire. Quick favour, if you are loving this, hit that subscribe button. Over 92% of viewers haven't yet. It is free. It takes a second and means the world to us. Thanks if you did. Now back to the show. Let us set the stage because the context here is as spicy as a vindaloo on a Friday night. We are in early 2026 and the Labour government is currently treading water in a pool of its own making. Sir Keir Starmer's net favourability has plummeted to a staggering -54. For those of you who enjoy a bit of historical irony, that is almost exactly where Boris Johnson was on the day he was forced to resign. Enter Paul Ovenden. Ovenden wasn't just some junior staffer fetching the oat lattes. He was the man who headed Labour's attack unit and was credited with having his fingerprints all over the 2024 election victory. He quit in September 2025 amidst a flurry of controversy, but he has now reappeared on the airwaves with a metaphorical sledgehammer, and his target is the bizarre case of Ala Abdel Fattah. Now, for those who haven't been following the consular drama, Abdel Fattah is a British-Egyptian activist who arrived back in London on Boxing Day after years in an Egyptian prison. Sir Keir Starmer stood up and proudly declared that bringing him home was a top priority for his government since day one. He looked the camera in the eye with that trademark forensic sincerity and told us all how delighted he was. But then the internet did what the internet does. People started digging through the activist's social media history, and what they found wasn't exactly a series of live, laugh, love quotes. We are talking about posts calling for the killing of police and Zionists, describing British people as dogs and monkeys, and my personal favourite for the irony department, urging rioters to go burn down Downing Street. You would think the Prime Minister's top strategy man would have been briefed on this top priority, right? Well, that is where the explosion happens.
It's absolutely extraordinary, isn't it? And it is in some ways a gift that keeps on giving because at every level the state has failed us. Political people, people in government, in parliament, the civil service, the sort of rancid charity sector that comes up with this stuff, the lefty lovies in celebrity world, exactly as you say. Everybody has not a single person who has bothered to check out this guy. They just say, I'm so virtuous. I'm such a good person. I'm going to help this out. And I'm afraid that some of the non-apologies coming out from some of these people are pretty pathetic, frankly, because I think it really does show the kind of dying spasms of the old order. I think this is now, there is no way that you can try and pretend that we haven't totally debased and devalued citizenship. There's no one listening to this, including the Prime Minister, including this guy himself who said it, who thinks that he is as British as you or I, or as people who were born overseas but have come here to make their life here and tried to integrate and successfully done so, and all the rest of it. This guy is not British in any way. And after about 5 minutes of going, oh, I'm so sorry that I got caught. I'm so sorry to the Jews and the white people and the Americans and the gay people. Ah, no, screw it. It's a Zionist conspiracy and they're all out to get me. It's extraordinary.
Paul Overton took to the airwaves and basically laughed in the Prime Minister's face. He revealed that Abdel Fattah being a high priority was news to him, and he was the director of strategy. He described the entire case as a running joke in Whitehall. Can you imagine? While the country is grappling with a cost of living crisis and crumbling public services, the corridors of power were apparently echoing with laughter over a cause célèbre beloved by what Overton calls Whitehall's sturdy, clean-shirted diplomats. He called the case a totem of the ceaseless sapping of time and energy by people obsessed with fringe issues. It is like finding out the captain of the Titanic was too busy arguing about the thread count of the napkins to notice the iceberg. Overton's critique is devastating because it exposes a Whitehall weirdness that most voters suspected but never had confirmed by someone so deep inside the perma-class. He claims the government has been captured by activist lawyers and celebrity letter-writing campaigns. It is a government that reacts to the loudest voices in the North London dinner party circuit rather than the pain of the average voter. Overton essentially painted a picture of Keir Starmer as a man who isn't pulling the levers of power, but rather a man who is being led around by a complex coalition of campaign groups, regulators and trade bodies. It is the stakeholder state in all its glory, where the stakeholders are everyone except the British public. But the drama doesn't stop at the strategy office. The Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has had to step into the fray to try and mop up the blood, and her defence is almost as damning as the original accusation. Yvette Cooper has now ordered an urgent review into the serious information failures of the case. She admitted that the due diligence arrangements were completely inadequate. Translation, we didn't bother to check his Twitter feed. Think about that for a second. The British government spent years of diplomatic capital with successive prime ministers and foreign secretaries lobbying the Egyptian president, and nobody thought to spend 5 minutes scrolling through the guy's social media. It is 2026. My grandmother knows how to check a digital footprint before she buys a second-hand air fryer on Facebook Marketplace. Yet the Foreign and Commonwealth Office apparently lacks the sophisticated technology known as a search bar. Cooper's review is a classic political manoeuvre. When in doubt, launch an inquiry and hope everyone forgets by the time the report is published in 2028. But the damage is done. The revelation that Abdel Fattah called for the burning of Downing Street, the very building currently housing the people who campaigned for his release, is the kind of peak Britain moment that makes you want to laugh and cry simultaneously. Reform UK has, predictably, had a field day. Lee Anderson and the Reform crew are pointing out that this is exactly what happens when you have out-of-touch elites running the show. They argue that calling everyone a racist or a fascist for wanting basic border control or vetting is the only thing this government is good at, while they let people into the country who openly despise the very foundations of British society. So where does this leave Captain Sensible? Where does Keir Starmer go when his own best brain tells the world he is a distracted amateur?
I mean, the miserable list goes on. It is just extraordinary. And yet we have politician after politician who, for some reason, never checked this man's social media. I thought that was rule one in the current world we live in. Check what this man has said in the past, and then we'll make a decision. Nobody did that. So we had all sorts of people, including Keir Starmer, back in 2022. And this is a really interesting aspect if you listen to the specifics of what he said. Back in 2022, talking and highlighting the case of Abdel Fattah. Let's have a listen.
The fallout from this is existential, to borrow a word from another panicked Labour strategist. Overton's departure was already a blow. He was part of the tight-knit group of Starmer loyalists. But his decision to go scorched earth on live television suggests a deeper rot. It suggests that even those who built the Starmer project have realised it is a hollow shell. Ovenden didn't just stop at the activist case. He called for the government to stiffen its spine, cut welfare spending, and end the triple lock on pensions. He is essentially saying that the current Labour leadership is too weak to do what is necessary. As we approach the local and regional elections in May 2026, the optics are catastrophic. You have a Prime Minister who is less popular than a rainy bank holiday, a Chancellor in Rachel Reeves who has a net favourability of -59, lower than Kwasi Kwarteng, which is quite the achievement, and a former top advisor telling the nation that the government is a running joke. The suspense isn't about whether Labour will lose seats in May, it is about whether the party can even survive the internal civil war that is now breaking out. Starmer is exploding because the narrative he spent years crafting, the one about competence and country first, party second, has been exposed as a facade for a Whitehall machine that is powerless or captured. The demolition of Keir Starmer's authority isn't coming from the opposition, it is coming from inside the House. And as Paul Ovenden proved this week, when the people who know you best start telling the truth, there isn't enough spin in the world to save you. Thank you for watching.